Given the recent exponential growth of AI, most of us have been incorporating it more and more into our daily lives, both personally and professionally. A task that might have taken hours of your time, maybe some sort of research, analysis, drafting a summary, or another document, can now be completed by an AI tool in just a few minutes. Some of us are really excited and thrilled by this. Oh yes, so much more room for productivity. This is going to make my life so much easier. AI is going to do my job for me. But then, as the days go by, a moment of sudden realization probably hits. If AI can do my job for me, what exactly am I here for? I spent years going to school, gaining knowledge, spent even more years in the industry gaining expertise. Now, all of a sudden, poof, none of that seems to really matter. Recent college grads might have it even worse. They might feel like AI knows everything, so they relied on it to get their degree. So if AI knows everything, is their degree now just a certification of how much money they paid to the university? Maybe they'll think, how are they going to compete against AI and build a real career? Now, this is a very real challenge people are facing in the workforce, and the standard advice people give seems to make a lot of sense on its surface. Become AI enhanced, not AI replaced. Learn to use the tools, learn to use AI well. Let it handle the heavy lifting of research and first drafts, and we as humans, we add our value with our creativity, judgment, and the final review. Most management consultants and HR departments say some version of this, and they're not essentially wrong. Tools matter, and adaptation is necessary. As we all know, AI is getting better at analysis, drafting, and synthesis. Knowledge workers who adapt, who become fluent with AI-assisted tools and work, will produce more than those who don't, and those who don't will be replaced by those who do. So essentially, use the tools and adapt or get left behind. Now, if you take this conventional advice seriously, the path forward seems really clear. You got to become someone who's really good at using AI and working with AI. It helps generate better outputs, faster, quicker, more accurately. That's what makes you valuable. It's how you utilize the AI tools. But from the management as a liberal art perspective, I see this problem differently. The AI enhanced versus AI replaced conversation assumes that knowledge work is fundamentally just information processing with a human quality check at the very end. Drucker, however, located the value somewhere else. Knowledge workers are valuable in the workplace because they own their own outcomes. That ownership has a name. It's called accountability. And accountability is the one function AI systems cannot perform. Let's use the analogy of an air traffic controller. The software in the tower tracks hundreds of aircrafts simultaneously at the same time, calculating separate distances, projecting flight paths, and modeling weather, all in real time. It processes data at a scale no human mind could possibly match, at least in today's day and age. By any measure of information processing, the software can do it faster and more accurately than any one person can. But the controller ultimately gives the final clearance because someone has to own what happens if a plane doesn't land safely. Someone has to be answerable to the passengers, to the airline, to the families waiting at the gates. Better software makes the air traffic controller better informed, but accountability stays exactly where it was, with the person who gave the final clearance. If you're finding the ideas on this channel helpful, then you're exactly who we're trying to build this community for. Most management advice mistakes profit for purpose and ignores the human element. But here, we're proving that being socially responsible and an effective leader are one and the same. If you want to keep evolving your leadership and management styles alongside us, please click the subscribe button and join the conversation. It's the best way to make sure these insights reach more leaders like you, people who want to do things differently. Management works the same way. AI improves the analysis, but the manager carries the accountability. There are 3 things that make accountability real, and none of them can be automated with AI. Number 1, ownership of the decision. When an AI generates a recommendation for you to present to your team or your leadership, one of two things is true. Either you evaluated it, applied your judgment, and made it your own call, or you just forwarded it as an output without your own judgment. In which case, you've just made yourself decorative in this whole process. Accountability belongs to whoever actually made the final decision. And if no one decided, there is a vacuum in accountability, and that becomes very visible the moment something goes wrong. Number 2, stakes. The AI might make the recommendation, but you live with the consequences. If the recommendation turns out to be wrong, your reputation is going to be affected. Your relationships are going to change. Your standing in the organization is going to shift. AI carries none of these consequences or responsibilities. It cannot lose credibility directly from a decision. It can't be called in to explain itself to the people affected by its recommendations, nor can it bear any of its consequences going forward. It's just a tool, right? Number 3, answerability. Accountability is a relationship between a person and the people affected by their decisions. A manager who makes the wrong call is answerable to their team, their clients, their leadership, and the organization. The obligation of facing the people that were affected and having to explain what happened is not something AI can do. This has no equivalency in any tool out there. Now, Drucker wrote a lot of management guidelines decades before modern AI, but his framework anticipates exactly what we are watching here today. Knowledge workers are valuable because they are responsible for their outcomes, and that ownership is personal. It belongs to them in the same way that their expertise belongs to them. It is something that no employer can fully take away and no tool can fully replicate. The trap that many managers are falling into is treating AI output as final decisions rather than input for consideration. Many run the analysis, present the results, and then just move on. When it works, and nobody asks questions. But when it fails, the vacuum in accountability suddenly becomes visible. And when people are trying to figure out whose call it was, the answer is clear. It's the person whoever presented the recommendation. It was their call to present it as a final judgment. And if they didn't make a judgment, they are still responsible. Now, if that person says, hey, it's not my fault, AI made the recommendation, I just presented it, they also just proved that they are essentially not of value to the organization. They made no contribution in this process, making them replaceable. Now, I can anticipate some pushback coming my way. AI reasoning is improving every single day. At some point, it's going to make better decisions, better than most managers. Doesn't that make this whole argument obsolete? In truth, AI will probably outperform most managers in certain kinds of analysis. But that's not the point. Drucker's framework doesn't rest on AI being valuable, right? It rests on accountability being in a human relationship and having ownership over the final outcomes. It's not a question of capabilities. The more capable an AI is, doesn't mean it can be called into account. It still can't bear consequences. It has no stake in the outcome, no relationship to the people these decisions affect. Accountability requires someone who can be held responsible, and that is always going to be a person. The AI-enhanced versus AI-replaced framing is about what the tool can do. Drucker's point in its insight is about what the structure of work requires, the results and the outcomes. Capability improvements only answer the question about what can be done. It does not address who is responsible. So the next time you use AI at work, pause before you present it as it is. Have you evaluated it against your own knowledge and experience? Can you defend it if it turns out to be wrong? Are you the one who owns the results and outcomes from these decisions? If the answer to any of this is no, then you're just using AI as a substitute for your own judgment when it should be an input and a tool. Don't be decorative. Be irreplaceable. Own the outcomes. Be responsible for decisions. What do you think? Does this match your own experience as a manager? Let me know in the comments below. And if you know somebody who's wrestling with their career in the age of AI, please send this video to them. That's how this channel grows. And more importantly, that's how Drucker's ideas get into the rooms where actual decisions are getting made. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I deeply appreciate it. I'll see you next time.